Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for being here today. My name is Elizabeth Kenny. I am a student at Massachusetts Maritime Academy, class of 2021, and in case you're not counting like I am, it's 15 months away. But I am here to talk about the last 2 months that I have spent in the towns of Brewster, Chatham, and Orleans under the supervision of John Conrad-Towett, also known as KZ, the emergency manager for the town of Chatham. Let me start you off with an interesting fact. Did you know that there are 9,900 emergency management directors in the United States? Conversely, there are 19,495 cities, states, and towns, and villages in the United States as well. I bring this up because emergency management is a growing field. That means 49% of this country has direct access to an emergency management director. I was supplied with an 8-week syllabus provided by KZ to outline the tasks that I would be performing within the 3 towns. In addition to the projects that I've listed, I also attended several meetings and trainings which provide good openings to network with various local, county, and state representatives. This provided me with excellent real-life experience and exposed me to several of the challenges and recognizing the needs of the communities that face the challenges of emergency management. A large portion of my project was spent developing and updating comprehensive emergency management plans. These plans are the foundation for the town's emergency management programs and is a one-stop shopping document that encapsulates everything in the town. Now, I created Brewster and Orleans plans while I updated Chatham's. I utilized the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency's provided templates along with the completed plans of of Chatham and Mashpea's. I received assistance from town employees, and then I directly contacted state agencies to receive guidance and direction of obtaining some of the information and records that I required. Now, I was able to go to Orleans Town Hall. I worked directly with some of those departments to obtain some of the records that are held within the town. I compiled a spreadsheet of prominent businesses and points of importance within Brewster and Orleans. Now, some of the challenges I faced were technological inaccuracies. We all know we can't trust what we read on the internet. However, with the understanding that Cape Cod is a very seasonal location, I needed assistance to identify the businesses and their season in which they operated. I appreciate the assistance that I received from Amy Handel of Brewster and Melissa Clayton of Orleans in clarifying these businesses. I did come across one incident in Brewster where a seasonal hotel had recently been sold, but the problem is the new owners were not recorded yet. Why might I bring this up? Well, these plans, the comprehensive emergency management plans, need to be updated annually in order to provide accurate information to our emergency responders and to help keep our communities safe. Speaking of safety, Emergency Operation Center to-go kits were created to make it more efficient to quickly activate an EOC. The objective was to standardize the EOCs of the town of Brewster, Chatham, Harwich, and Orleans and make them interoperable. This started with compiling the FEMA required documents, points of contacts, pertinent phone numbers, job descriptions, SEMPs, and the functionality of departments in order to go on a small flash drive to be handed out to the appropriate departments. Now, within researching this, I went into Brewster's storage closet and I managed to find a mail cart that was pre-stocked with the required office supplies like steno pads, pens, whiteboard markers, clipboards, and I took inventory of this cart with the purpose of replicating it in the other EOCs. I had the opportunity to work with the Chatham Harbor Master's Office in organizing their mooring renewals and to obtain missing email addresses for their current mooring owners and those on their mooring wait lists. I ran into some challenges facing this because some phone numbers were disconnected. I had mailboxes full. Some were waiting on callbacks, and surprisingly enough, some people did not have email addresses or even owned a computer. However, I am the daughter of a librarian. I was taught to thoroughly investigate and research everything I needed. You combine that with the investigative skills of the mooring manager, Mike Ryder, and we were able to search several databases in order to obtain some of that missing information. Now, the importance of having accurate information came from the Chatham Police Department. Chatham has a special assistance profile program. These profiles are designed to inform first responders that there are individuals in their communities that require additional assistance in case of an evacuation. This was very rewarding to me. I called the emergency contacts of the individuals on these profiles and confirmed the accuracy and made any updates or changes to information on their loved ones. They were very appreciative that the town was taking the time to call them to make sure that their loved ones were going to be safe. However, I did have a bit of a personal challenge with this one. I was calling people I was not familiar with, and I was asking sometimes sensitive information about their loved ones. However, the importances of having accurate information in the time of an emergency kept me going forward. Throughout my internship here, I attended meetings that you see listed up here. These meetings expanded my networking within the emergency management industry and allowed me to build relationships that I can improve in the years to come. At these meetings, I was treated like an equal, and I worked with various officials from the state to the county, even to the local. And observing those agencies express challenges, concerns, and their own different missions in order to work together to create a common goal that was put before them was a truly eye-opening experience. It gave me an insight into how government agencies are willing to work together when it comes to the betterment of their own communities. Training. I was afforded the opportunity to take advanced training such as Web EOC, which is a federal standard web-based crisis communication system. It allows communications to flow fluidly from the local, county, state, and even all the way up to the federal level to help with situational awareness and to facilitate mutual aid responses in the moment of an incident. This is a common operating system that everyone uses from the state to the country. As a result of working with the fire departments in each town, I received my HIPAA training in order to keep the confidentiality of any medical information I may have been exposed to. And speaking of medical, I was unfortunately unable to attend the Broad Reach Hospice tabletop exercise, but I had the opportunity to attend a planning meeting beforehand. And I gave some insight in some challenges that I saw in their procedures and hopefully improved their response time in this exercise. This week, I was able to re-interview and get real-time feedback from Chief Deering, Deputy Varley, Deputy Di Pasquale, and Jillian Douglas on my interview skills. And also, I worked with Jillian Douglas this weekend to update my resume to the standards of what a town HR department would consider. But honestly, I want to express my appreciation and my gratitude to those who freely gave their time and knowledge to me. And I learned such a great deal, and I have built a skill set that will carry me through the rest of my schooling and when I enter into the emergency management field. Any questions?
Can you step up to the mic?
Yes, please.
You did a really great job
Thank
So
you.
I have an easy one first and then a more difficult one.
Okay.
So what was your favorite part of the project?
Oh, my favorite part of the project, honestly, it was being able to see a real insight into everything that goes into emergency management. There's only so much you can learn in the classroom, but until you're in those meetings and you see all these different levels, all these different agencies who have their own goals, but are willing to also work with everyone else strictly for the common goal of improving their communities. That being able to see that in real life was the best part of all of it.
Nice, that's great. So a big part of my job is convincing emergency management directors to complete their SEMP plan, or to spend some time completing their SEMP plan, or find some help to do it, for them. So what would you say, in your opinion, is the greatest benefit to a community having a completed SEMP plan? Because that's something I'm always trying to come up with ideas to say, this is why you should have your SEMP plan done, and it's not just going to be something that sits on a shelf and collects dust.
That's an excellent question. The SEMP plan is, as I said, a one-stop shopping document. If you go through this, it will label everything that you may need in your town, primary roads, who does what. It labels out the responsibilities of those in your towns with duties and functions that anyone can go in, and if they might have not gone into an EOC in a while, here's a thumb drive. Here is everything that you are going to need, which means you can do faster response, faster recovery time, and get your town back to a near normal situation as quick as possible.
Excellent. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One being the academia. Just so I'm from Mass Maritime, so I get to help was at the end of this. Do you feel your education thus far has helped you perform the tasks during your co-op?
It truly has. Between all the course actual material and then the personal stories that any of my professors have shared with their experiences related to the material, it gave me a better foothold to be able to step into an actual town and community to learn and use the skills that I've learned in that classroom and submit to my professors within a real world scenario.
Excellent. My other question is, I recently went to a very similar meeting to this for a bunch of towns out in the western part of the state.
Yes.
Similar to Cape Cod structure, especially in the winter.
Right.
You have very small communities. You have the population is very different. How would I help those towns? How could someone like you go in and help those towns? Very similar to your question, but again, using those demographics because they don't have the resources necessarily available to them because they are smaller towns with limited resources.
Well, I'll say I am available for an internship come this summer. So if they want me to come. The other part is MEMA came up with a template. This is a step-by-step process that their towns can go through and customize to their own facility. Now, out west, you're looking at more severe storms. You're looking at, tornadoes that hit Springfield. You're looking at all this. And if they have this plan, no matter what, because it's an all-encompassing plan, walk up, take it right off the shelf, open it up, and they're able to actually go, all right, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing. And if they use that in conjunction with EOC, they can get the supplies and situation reports available in order to bring their towns back to a near normal. I know it is complicated because it's not complicated, but it's a smaller community, which makes it more unique, and that's the beauty of this plan, that it can be tailored to what the community actually requires.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could you explain a little bit more about what WebEOC is and how it can be utilized by all levels of government?
Of course. WebEOC is actually supported by FEMA themselves, so up at the federal level. It is a user-friendly base that any municipality and state is able to log into, get the training for, that they can very happily request information, request aid from local areas to the town, up to the states, and then even the federal levels. On top of that, it gives you a situational report. You have a weather storm. How long is that going to last? You have roads blocked. It allows tables and maps, and it allows just the communication for it to be together. It's just fluid, that everyone is on the same page and is able to talk to each other. So it's a level playing field that everyone knows exactly what is going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you have 15 months left.
Yes.
Then what? What's your dream scenario when you get out of school?
My dream scenario is I want to go into the emergency management field. And I mean, if not straight on take on KZ's position, but take on a supporting role. This is the role I want to go into. I want to be able to look at a town, a state, or even a county in some other state and bring their community and focus the community back onto surviving or coming out of stronger than what they would have been. I want to be able to create the plans, the SEM plans, instant action plans, after action reports. I want to be able to read. I plan on reading on what happened up in Merrimack Valley with the gas explosions. I want to see what other towns have done and be able to bring my own community back up to a stronger level of resilience, because that's what emergency management is. It's controlling chaos and making sure everyone is far more resilient than what they were before. Ooh.
If you had to give a recommendation based upon your experience in Chatham of the different town departments and whatnot, you know, trying to put all this together, what would your recommendation be going forward into the future?
Recommendation of different town departments.
With regard to emergency management.
With regard, it's not a one department. It's not just the emergency management department's job to make your community stronger. It's everywhere from the health department, building, fire, police, DPW. It's a all-town initiative. So it's not just up to KZ and Chatham to be able to build all these plans. It's everyone is involved because it's all your community.
Very good. And we want to thank you on behalf of the police department and the town. And we just have a little something for you.
Yay, thank
for
you.
your efforts.
Thanks, Chief. Hey, Liz.
Hi.
As first responders and the emergency departments on the Lower Cape here, we appreciate kind of feedback from all different levels, bottom to top. Mm-hmm. Throughout the process of your internship, did you identify any shortfalls that we have, or any topics that you wish that you got a chance to kind of peek into that you just didn't really have time to get to dive into?
Well, that's actually an interesting question. One of the things that I'm both grateful and a little sad that we had a very mild winter. So we didn't get to experience any of the storms I had hoped, at least just one storm, that I would hope to be able to see the mutual aid response between the towns. There was a lot of talk in my presentation about seeing Brewster, Orleans, Harwich, and Chatham working together. They just created the Bach EOC, which is a regional CERT team. To be able to expand on that and see how everyone worked a little better would have been nice, but the weather didn't cooperate, which I'm thankful for.
Liz, in this world, as I've said before, boring is good. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Boring is good. That's achievement.
Yes.
Okay? Going from there. You talked about the SEMP plan, which is a comprehensive emergency management plan, in very good detail of that. There's other pieces to that. Can you draw out some of the other pieces, like the tier 2s, and what's the criticality to that, the critical infrastructure? Why is that important? And along with that, kind of a two-part, not being able to share a lot of that with the public due to what reasons, but being able to sanitize portions of it. Can you explain upon that?
Oh, of course. So, like I said, the SEM plan is a all-inclusive. In this plan, as I said, I made spreadsheets for businesses and important facilities that were within the towns. That includes our tier 2, which is where we keep our hazardous material within towns, the routes that those take, local important businesses, big hotels, because this is a seasonal area and that brings in a lot of people. We're also talking beaches, marinas, anything that could critically affect the town, all the way up down to your water supply. Water supply is big around here because everyone likes drinking water and taking showers. But with all that information being in one plan, you cannot release that plan to the public because that gives information, emergency contacts, locations of stuff that you may not want the public to know where everything actually is. But if you remove that and you remove several of the other locations, you can submit a sanitized, as KZ listed, said, a sanitized plan to the public that just pretty much lays out how is the town going to be able to respond if another tornado hits, if we have a hurricane or a blizzard. And it gives the citizens and the people of the town a peace of mind to know that their government is looking out for them. Any other questions? Oh,
One more.
okay.
All right, now that you've finished your internship.
Yes.
And I'm going to expand upon what the chief asked earlier. Now, what do we do better, and what do we tell future potential interns? What did we do, and how did we capture you? What brought it on for you? Why did you choose us? We chose you, but why did you want to choose us as well? So some feedback. A lot of questions there, but I think you got it.
The primary reason why I chose to work with these three towns is because they had, at the career fair at Massachusetts Maritime Academy, a syllabus from last year's internship. I was able to actually go through that syllabus and look at specifically what those cadets had done before me. And then when I interviewed with you and the other deputy chiefs, you provided me with a draft of a syllabus of what I'd be doing this winter. That was fantastic to me. Instead of a vague job description, I knew what I was doing every week. I knew if there was pre-planned training or a pre-planned meeting, it was on that syllabus, and I was able to know exactly where I would be and what I'd be doing to help this community. So I say continue doing that. Definitely continue providing a syllabus for cadets so that they know exactly what they plan on doing. Things to improve on? Create some weather would be nice. No, I'm joking. Things to improve on. My goodness, I was exposed to so many things. Just offer the trainings that I was exposed to, offer the meetings that I was exposed to, so that other cadets like me can build that respect in the community before we're even out of college, to give us those networking skills that we're interacting with people from, town departments all the way up to MEMA, and just keep doing that. Any other questions? All right. Like I said, I want to thank you guys for coming to my presentation. You guys have all been a great resource. Thank you very much.